Good day and welcome back to Iran Weekly News. Despite his family's plea for compassion, Mirza Ali Vaizadeh has been deported to Iran. He's been living in Canada with no status since 1997. Canadian officials with the CBSA denied his application because of his work for the Iranian intelligence organization SAVAK in the decades before the Islamic Revolutionaries occupied Iran. Many Iranians, however, believe that SAVAK, the secret police, domestic security and intelligence service in Iran during the reign of Pahlavi dynasty, had completely operated in the national interest of the country. They say SAVAK and other forces under the ruling of late Shah had protected the country and the people from insurgency and terrorist attacks by Islamists, communists, and other armed leftist groups who destroyed Iran after the Islamic Revolution. Iranians both inside and abroad say, under the principle of international law, no one should be sent back to a country where their life will be in danger. Canada, under the governing of Trudeau, has violated the principle of non-refoulement. The poor man was reportedly sent back to Iran and he would be exposed to serious reprisals that would almost certainly cost his life. Western countries have extradited Iranian citizens and dissidents to the Islamic Republic many times before. Recently, a former security figure of the Islamic Republic claimed the executed journalist Ruhollah Azam was arrested in collaboration with France and other security services. The individual named Akbar Khoshkush claimed that Ruhollah Azam has been exchanged with a senior French security officers. Since 2 years ago, numerous speculations and narratives have been released about how Ruhollah Azam was trapped and arrested by IRGC forces. In an interview with the Event24 website, the former security person of the Islamic Republic has revealed a completely different version of Azam's arrest. He claims that there was cooperation between the security organizations of the Islamic Republic and France in connection with the arrest of Ruhollah Azam. By naming security deals between the intelligence services from the different countries, he said the individual extradition is a common and usual phenomenon. Azam, the dissident journalist who had been living in exile in France, was hanged for his writings and journalistic works last year. He ran Ahmad News, a popular anti-government website that Iran accuses of inciting the Bloody November protests. The elderly mother of a blogger who was brutally tortured and killed in custody in 2012 was assaulted by the Islamic forces in Iran on Thursday when she was on her way to visit her son's grave. Gohar Eshqi, mother of Sattar Beheshti, has been demanding justice for her son who was arrested by security forces on October 13, 2012 for his blogging activities and was killed a few days later in what was proved to be a cause of torture in detention. Just before noon on Thursday, Eshqi was on her way to the cemetery when two people approached on a motorcycle and one of them attacked the elderly woman, knocking her to the ground. IRGC Navy on Saturday took delivery of 110 missile-launching speedboats in a ceremony held in Iran's southern port city of Bandar Abbas. The 110 Ashira-class speedboats joined the IRGC Navy's fleet. According to the IRGC-run Tasnim news agency, the homegrown military vessels are highly maneuverable and can fire missiles and rockets. As a foreign terrorist organization, IRGC Navy received hundreds of missile-launching speedboats to boost its offensive power in Iran's southern territorial waters, the Persian Gulf, Sea of Oman, and Strait of Hormuz as the vital oil trade route. Last week, Tehran's Supreme Leader Representative Hossein Shariatmadari asked an urgent retaliatory action to pay U.S. sanctions back in kind. The hardliner man, whose newspaper is Khamenei's echo chamber, said, "We should draw a strong and regrettable response to Washington." And you may ask how? By blocking the Strait of Hormuz vital oil trade route. Again, the United States slapped fresh sanctions on a dozen officials and entities in Iran for serious human rights abuses Tuesday ahead of the expected resumption of the nuclear talks with Tehran after they halted last week without any concrete progress. According to Newsys, the sanctions announced by the U.S. Treasury and State Department targeted the Islamic Republic's officials and organizations involved in the repression of protesters and political activists who have been held in brutal conditions. The U.S. House Foreign Affairs Committee Friday passed a bipartisan bill that will ban the supply, sale, or transfer of military drones to or from the Islamic Republic under U.S. law. The bill was introduced by a group of Republicans and Democrats in late November. The lawmakers behind the proposed legislation, the Stop Iranian Drones Act, say it clarifies that U.S. sanctions on Iran's conventional weapons program under the Countering America's Adversaries Through Sanctions Act include the supply, sale, or transfer to or from Tehran of drones. Tehran-Beijing trade plummets despite the so-called strategic partnership. An official announced giant Chinese companies are increasing trade with the United States and the European Union, and of course, they are not working with Tehran, and it has brought a headache for the Islamic Republic. Now, China trade deal with India, EU, North America, and Africa strangled Ayatollah's hallucination. The Islamic regime was China's first trading partner in the region until about 7 years ago, but now it has fallen below fifth. But the Islamo-Communism Union still continues to angle for a broader partnership to offset US sanctions. And that was all for today. I'm Kate, and thank you for the privilege of your time.